Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. Can I have roll call, please?
Commissioner Hoff. Here. Commissioner Jelassic. Here. Commissioner Belt.
Here.
Trustee Rhodey.
Here.
And President Knutson.
Here. We have tonight, number 2, we have a public hearing. Conditional use grant request by the Village of Pewaukee to establish an expanded lift station within railroad right-of-way located north of 512 Kopmeyer Drive. Public and/or private utility is only permissible through the issuance of a conditional use grant, section 40.2042. Railroad right-of-way is owned and operated by CPKC and is zoned R5 Residential Detached District. I hereby open up the public hearing on that particular matter. Is there anybody here that would like to make a comment on that particular matter? Yes, ma'am.
I would like to know about it.
Could you please come up to the microphone?
I would like to know what's planned.
And state your name and address.
Patty Tiefenthaler, 508 Kopmeyer Drive.
So if you have a comment, you can certainly make it, but the commission can't engage in a question and answer with you. Okay, so there will be a presentation from staff on the project later in the meeting. But if you have a comment at this point, certainly offer it.
It'll explain the whole thing.
My only comment would be that right across from that is a dead-end street without traffic and without people paying higher taxes on the lake, and I don't know why it couldn't be located there on the dead-end street.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment? No?
Would be the same complaint, because I am.
If
Could
you
just
come up
state,
to the microphone and state your name.
Name and address.
Name and address is Mel Dangle. I own the property at 512 Kopmeyer, right where that station is. And I have the same complaint that they could put it across the tracks, you know, that has come up, but I guess, you know, it would be a little better, more room there, you know, because that is a dead-end street.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Hereby close the public hearing. Now we go to item 3, citizen comments. There's an opportunity for citizens to share their opinions with commission members on any topic they choose. However, due to Wisconsin open meeting laws, the commission is not able to answer questions or respond to your comments. All comments should be directed to the commission. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Speakers are asked to please use the podium and state their name and address. Did you have any other comments or anything else that you wanted to discuss or say? Okay. Then we're going to move on to item 4, approval of the regular planning commission meeting April 10th, 2025. I hope everyone has gone through them. Are there any questions, comments, or additions to the way they are presented this evening? And if there isn't, would I get a motion to approve as presented?
Motion to approve as written. Rhodey?
Second. Hoff.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are hereby adopted. Item 5, old business, we have none. Item 6, review, discussion, and possible action on conditional use grant request by the Village of Pewaukee to establish an expanded lift station within railroad right-of-way located north of 512 Kopmeyer Drive. Public and/or private utility use is only permissible through issuance of conditional use grant, section 40.204-2. Railroad right-of-way is owned and operated by CPKC and is zoned R5 Residential Detached District.
Thank
Sir,
you.
would you like to take this?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Back that up a little bit. The Department of Public Works has been working on expanding the lift station to make sure we can continue to meet the needs and services of the sewer system in the city. Since at least the 1950s, there's been an at-grade surface lift station on Cotmere Drive, again across from 512. What the Department of Public Works is looking at requesting, and just for reference, that is the existing at-grade lift station. In reviewing it, back in the 1950s when this likely went in, there was no approvals for zoning done at that point. Because they are looking to potentially expand it, they do have to come back through and ask the Plan Commission to approve that expansion. So here is what the Department of Public Works has worked through the process of proposing and is in front of you tonight. So here is the existing at-grade lift station. Some of that equipment would need to be reused as part of this project. Some would ultimately be transferred into this small shelter here. What they're doing is proposing a small building be erected next to the existing facility for new, updated, expanded equipment to handle the services and the needs of the lift station. All the existing piping is in the area right now that they'd be able to access and connect to maintain and continue that functionality of the lift station. Here is some renderings of what the lift station would look like. The building's approximately 8 feet wide by 21 feet long. Again, the primary purpose of it is to house those mechanical elements necessary for the continued functionality of that lift station. As part of tonight's discussion, Public Works has asked that Plan Commission weigh in on the design choices that go along with the lift station, specifically shingle options and siding options. They did provide some examples tonight that we can kind of pass around for Plan Commission to look at. See if I can get these right. I believe these are the 4 correct siding materials. And then these are the shingle colors that are being considered as well. The Public Works is requesting that Plan Commission weigh in on. There are kind of some gray, brown, tan, and black colors that are up for consideration. And any questions you may have regarding it?
Does anyone on the commission have a preference?
We're supposed to help them pick them?
They would like your feedback on, if there are selections that you prefer.
You can, or you can leave it up to staff, however you want to do it.
I mean, I don't think any of these colors are, obnoxious or anything, so I'd say leave it up to staff. I mean, these are fairly neutral colors.
Is there a blue?
No, well, maybe. I would pick this one if I was choosing one, because it goes with all the rest. That would be my option, but it doesn't matter. I was trying to see what the houses around it look like, but I couldn't quite get it.
I would stay neutral.
Neutral, that's what I would say. What is this parking area? There's bear cars in there. I think I was down there tonight, just doing that, and then I ended up meeting as a dead end. So I had to back up.
So, Mr. President, if I could
Sure, go right ahead.
Excuse me.
This facility exists entirely within the right-of-way of the railroad. Engineering-wise, in terms of why it has to go there, and this is when you have a lift station, what that is a pump for sanitary waste. And so there are engineering, you can't just put it wherever you want it. It needs to be at the proper point with the pipes. And so there are engineering concerns for location. There are also financial concerns for location. Because if we were to move it, if it were engineering possible, we would be starting over with a brand-new entire facility and not be able to reuse anything. And we're looking at reusing a lot of the piping and connections underneath the ground. So those are the two big motivating factors as to why it's located where it is.
So can I, the pipes is, do the pipes go straight north underneath the tracks from that point, or where do they go?
They go west
Straight west?
from that point. There's a force main that is being used to create the necessary pressure from the lift station, but from there, they do head west, or at least that's my understanding based on the drawings that we have.
Okay, so it doesn't go up by Isle Court or anything like that. It goes actually to Cutmeyer, where Cutmeyer crosses over, I'm assuming the trackside?
It does look like there's one place the sanitary continues, so it goes west and north in that area, and then looks like it is also within Cotmeyer, just looking at the drawing here. So there's a line that goes down Cotmeyer, there's a line that crosses the tracks, and then the force main that comes over to feed the lift station.
Okay, so there is essentially, it does go up Isle Court then? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes,
So, two questions. Will the existing structures completely become at ground level? I mean, are you removing them? Or they're gonna have the building and they're gonna have the green structures?
My understanding from Public Works is most of this will be removed, but not all of it. Some of the apparatus on that existing pad does have to stay.
Okay. And then on the plan, the site limits kind of go diagonal through what I think is a small parking area? I think.
That is already, you're talking about this.
Correct. So will that be disturbed, will be replaced, and is that approved by the railroad to have that parking on the right of way?
The only piece that's changing is the building location on this side.
Okay,
No
it's just-
proposed changes that I'm aware of regarding that little parking that's there today.
Okay.
are there any other questions or comments?
I will add one further comment, in that the village is working hard to communicate with the railroad, but it is very daunting, and the project will not proceed until we have permission from the landowner, the railroad, to be there, so.
Right. The plan commission is just weighing in on the conditional use aspect and authorizing the use. It's still up to staff to kind of dot the i's and cross the t's as to the authorization for the project and the ability and authorization for the structure to remain there in perpetuity. So.
Any other questions or comments?
I think the proposed building, is kind of cleans up that area. Puts everything inside, instead of it being outside. I didn't catch, and I probably am just missing it, how much larger is that gonna be?
So the building itself is 21 by 8. The little bit of additional pavement on the south side is probably, in the 25 to 30 foot total range from the eastern edge of the existing slab.
So there's a pretty aged tree, two aged trees that are just on the opposite side of that. Are we gonna lose that greenery? Do you think?
I'm looking at their site plan. The only tree that they show is here, but it is very difficult to determine. This is an image from 2012, so it's 13 plus years old. Exactly what that is in terms of distance, if it is in fact this tree or not,
Okay,
can't quite say.
all right, thank you.
The building needs to be rehabbed because the pump needs to be replaced and rebuilt, and the entrance to the building, or what is there now, is very tight.
Definitely.
And so we need to enlarge it for people to be able to get in and service it.
Yep.
So, okay, if there are no further questions or comments, I would like to see if anybody would like to make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the the new lift pump station with the siding and roofing decisions, colors to be made by staff with our recommendations.
By our recommendations, do you mean with staff recommendations?
Well, with staff recommendations with our feedback from this evening.
Okay, but otherwise, besides siding and roofing, are you incorporating the staff recommendations in the report? in your
Yes.
Motion, all right, thank you.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is hereby carried. Review and, item B, review discussion of possible recommendation to the village board on granting a 6-foot wide electrical easement to Wisconsin Electric Power Company on property commonly known as River Hills Park, located on the east side of Riverside Drive and south of its intersection with Waterstone Court, PWV 0925-100, and is zoned FC floodplain conservancy district, pardon me.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The village has had a request from We Energies to locate some additional electrical facilities along the east side of Riverside Drive. In doing so, they do need to potentially use a little bit of city property. That's why it's just a 6-foot wide easement, to make sure they have room to maintain their facilities. So they're requesting an easement along the westernmost 6 feet of village-owned property at this location. As easements are one of the statutory things that have to go through Plan Commission, ultimately Village Board for approval. We wanted to bring it forward to you tonight for your consideration, and but essentially it's granting that easement to We Energies to allow them to put facilities on that side of Riverside Drive.
And in this drawing, what are you showing us? What's that area?
Yep, so it's hard to see on this drawing, and I apologize because they're both blue. This blue line is 6 feet from the property line, so it is this very narrow sliver of approximately, 1,750 square feet of total easement area. And I believe village attorney has been working with We Energies and reviewing the actual easement language for the village.
Yeah, so we have gone back and forth on the actual easement language, and I am satisfied with, I don't believe it's actually in your packet, but we have come to an agreement. It's a relatively basic easement, and correct me if I'm wrong, We Energies has an existing easement in that area. This is kind of just an extension, correct? Okay.
It's just cleaning it up, essentially, the language?
They have easements on adjoining properties from what I could find in the records, but not necessarily on this property, which is making sure they have full continuous easement access.
Do we know what equipment they're talking about? Is it gonna be underground lines or overhead lines, or?
So I believe the easement language would give them the ability to do either. It does mention both overhead and underground facilities. I do not recall seeing specifically what was planned for this area. I think most of this area is all underground.
Yeah, I think the intention is underground because if memory serves, DPW had a concern about making sure that whatever equipment they have in that area would be safe. And we address it in the easement document, but I bring that up because I think it's mostly for underground facilities.
Okay. And this is the location of the canoe launch?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve,
Recommend.
recommend approval.
recommend to the village board approval of the easement for Wisconsin Electric at this location.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is hereby carried. Review, discussion, and possible recommendation to village board on an ordinance amending section 40.419E1 of the municipal code of the village of Pewaukee, revisiting offsets for accessory structures. Again, I think we've discussed this quite a bit at the board level, but you want to just give us some highlights?
Yeah, this is kind of the culmination of a couple of prior plan commission meetings as we look through options on making it easier on village residents to create those small accessory structures in closer proximity to their side and rear yards. So ultimately, after last month's discussion, we went back and we did draft potential ordinance language for how this could be done, following that 200 square foot or less idea. Additionally, we included that language that structures under 120 square feet or less would only require the zoning permit and would not need a building permit. This is really. In doing so, we also then had to renumber a number of sections because we wanted to make sure this was located in kind of the proper place within the ordinance. So we created a new section A, and the old sections A through E ultimately have to be renumbered to make sure we get our ordinances continuity.
Any questions or comments? Would somebody like to make a motion to recommend this to the village board?
I'd like to make a motion that the Plan Commission recommend to the village board approval of the Village of Pewaukee zoning ordinance amendments as outlined in this information.
Second.
I'm sorry.
Oh, second.
Okay, we have a second. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is hereby carried. Review, discussion, and possible recommendation to the village board on an ordinance which in part amends section 40.132A and 40.482A of the municipal code of the village of Pewaukee regarding per diem for citizen board commission and committee members, board of zoning appeals and historic preservation commission. Matt, do you want to handle this one?
Yes, please, Mr. President. So at a previous village board meeting, the board directed staff to propose an ordinance that would pay the non-elected participants in the various subcommittees and commissions that serve the village. And to that effect, the village attorney has composed such an ordinance. And the reason it's before the Plan Commission tonight is that two of the bodies that this impacts, the Zoning Board of Appeals and the Historic Preservation Committee, those two bodies are created in Chapter 40 of the Municipal Code. And Chapter 40 is our zoning and our land control chapter. And that falls under the authority of the Plan Commission. So it starts with this body tonight, and then we'll move to the village board at a future meeting. So correct me if I'm wrong, Attorney Gorlinski, but they're really just looking at those two bodies, right?
Correct. So the ordinance is drafted as an omnibus ordinance. It makes changes to every citizen board and committee we have in the village, including the Plan Commission, which ironically enough is not created in Chapter 40. So you're not looking to recommend any sort of pay increase or per diem for yourselves. the review is solely limited to the changes contemplated in Chapter 40, which, as the administrator said, are the Board of Zoning Appeals and the Historic Preservation.
Any questions? Yes.
What are we talking
Yeah,
about?
we have per diems now, and we don't have per diems now, so we're not getting paid now.
Right, so
Okay.
this
But you
is,
just said it didn't affect us.
no, I said it does affect you.
Okay, it does affect us.
It does affect you, but you're not you're not being asked to weigh in on that piece of the ordinance.
Okay,
You're being asked to weigh in on whether this ordinance should go forward with the Board of Zoning Appeals and the Historic Preservation Commission as part of it, because those bodies are created in Chapter 40, which is the zoning code, which the Plan Commission has purview over. So what the intention is the village board would like to see per diem for every citizen, committee, and commission in the village. 2 of them are created in Chapter 40, so you have purview over code changes to that section.
and I guess what's the history behind it? Are they thinking they'll get more people, or they're thinking, I mean, I don't quite understand why.
I'll defer
You need to
to
pay people.
the trustees and the
Okay.
commission here to explain that.
Okay, thank you.
It's been the practice of municipalities in the local area to pay a $20 per diem to citizen members, again, not elected members, but citizen members, as it isn't meant to be pay. It's pays for your gas. It could pay for your copies of paper that you're making. It's essentially saying that this is an important duty that you are doing for the village. We're going to give you whatever the amount of money is that the village decides to do for every one of the meetings that you attend. Okay?
Okay, I just was wondering where it was coming from.
Yeah.
And it is common for municipalities to do that. This is the 3rd community I've worked for, and my previous 2 both recognized the service of their committee members with some sort of small stipend.
Is there back pay?
No,
No, you're not gonna be able to buy a new car.
He would have had been here, how long? For 20 months?
Any other questions? Well, then what I'd like would be someone to come forward and possibly make a recommendation to the village board to approve this.
So I guess, just to jump off of what
Yeah.
you said, this is going to village board for the rest of the departments.
The whole thing. Yep,
But
you're only looking at,
But we have to decide whether, if the village board's gonna make that decision, we just have to tell them whether or not the appeals in the commission, the preservation commission, are included in that.
correct.
Right.
Yep.
well put.
Oh, okay.
It's easier to understand now.
I'd like to make a motion to
Great.
recommend approval of ordinance 2025-04 to the village board as it pertains to the Board of Zoning Appeals and the Historic Preservation Commission.
I'll second.
Here we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is hereby carried. Review, discussion, and possible recommendation to the village board on a sanitary sewer lateral assignment and assumption agreement and permanent easement with WCTC regarding property located at 800 Main Street, PWV 0925999. Who wants to take this?
I can take it. The water utility will be installing some water quality filters at a well on the WCTC property. And these filters need to be backwashed once a week. And so that wastewater needs to go somewhere. And the college, WCTC, has its sanitary sewer lateral, the service pipe, right there. So in negotiations with the college, they'll let us pump the water utility, they'll let the water utility pump its wastewater through their lateral in exchange for us taking over the lateral. and then they'll grant us an easement to be able to access it and maintain it. So it's kind of a win-win in that the water utility doesn't have to install its own lateral. It's already in the ground, and that's an expensive prospect. And WCTC now gets the use of a lateral for free because we'll be maintaining it in perpetuity.
Has that lateral been televised to know what condition it's in?
I don't know the answer to that, actually. I do know it is their practice to televise it, especially before connecting to it, to make sure that that they're connecting to a good sound service.
Okay.
You can make that part of the motion if you'd like.
Oh, I could, but if Dave hasn't done it, I don't want to do that to him.
If he hasn't done it yet, he will.
Okay, yeah, that's what I assume.
Are there any other questions or comments? I have a motion then to recommend to the village board for the assumption agreement and easement.
I'll make a motion to recommend to the village board for the assumption agreement of the easement for WCTC regarding the property at 800 Main Street.
Is that recommending approval?
Recommending approval, yes. In perpetuity.
I'll second it.
Here we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is hereby carried. Citizen comments. This is an opportunity for citizens to share their opinions with commission members on any topic they choose. However, due to Wisconsin open meeting laws, the commission is not able to answer questions or respond to your comments. All comments should be directed to the commission. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Speakers are asked to please use the podium and state their name and address for the record. Either one, would you like to make a comment or anything?
About what you discussed today.
Whatever you want to discuss. You could talk about the weather, you could talk about brewers, anybody.
Well, are all your choices have the
State your name and address again.
Patty Tiefenthaler, 508 Kottmeyer Drive. Do all your choices for that building have the same warranties?
I believe so.
They're the same material, it's just color selection.
Okay. And the other thing would be, it looks like the imprint of the new building will be quite a bit larger. Is that necessary?
Yeah, for access, for the safety of the crew to get in.
Thank you. Okay, then we'll go to item 8, which is adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are hereby adjourned. Thank you, everyone. There's the guy we